Manager at Friday Harbor Laboratories. I'm going to start off by giving a presentation. Should take maybe 10 minutes. It's going to talk about who we are, what we do, where we are, those kinds of questions. Some of the programs at the University of Washington in the college environment, we're part of that college. And then I'm going to open it up to Q&A. So if you have questions, happy to answer them to the best of my ability. All right, so here we go. Okay. All right. So the first thing to probably talk about is location, where we are. We're located in the northern section of the Salish Sea/Puget Sound, just on the border with Canada and a couple hours north of Seattle. We're part of an archipelago that consists of over 100 islands that can only be reached by boat or plane and is renowned for its natural setting and diverse ecosystem. So much so that we're a very desirable tourism destination as well. You can see our campus there in the middle of the photo. We're located on a 500-acre biological preserve that you'll have access to the whole time you're here. So hiking and rowboat adventures are strongly recommended. We have owned the property that we're on for over 100 years and have a long history of notable researchers and educators who have made use of our space. We're one of the few facilities that continuously pumps fresh seawater into our labs. So researchers can use our research vessel to collect specimens and keep them in tanks with continuous water flow all the time while living just steps away from their labs. That kind of convenience and the fact that you have fresh seawater is kind of unique to our labs. I think there are some other places that do this, but it's few and far between. So we're pretty special for that reason, and we have a lot of really great research going on there because that kind of facility exists. Getting your hands dirty is what we do up here. If you're taking one of our courses or out here doing research, you're going to spend a lot of time in the field. So be prepared for that. If being in the muck and the water is what you want, then we're the place to be. We're also a world-class marine research station with a variety of tools and equipment here for our researchers. They've been collecting these tools they've needed to be successful in the research over decades. And when you're here and you're taking classes, you get access to those tools as well. Some of the videos you're seeing now are just, I kind of wandered around the labs recently and just took video of what was some of the things I saw. And as you can see, there's just skates, young skates that are sitting there growing, and ctenophores. Sometimes we have sharks and octopus in our labs. So you never know what's going to be here when you're walking around. There's really great stuff, and you'll be in these labs while you're here. The dorms and huts are what most students stay in, so you don't have to worry about finding housing when you're up here, which is growing increasingly difficult in the real estate market that we're in up in San Juan Islands. These residences are located at the back of the campus in the woods. So you got to be careful leaving your shoes outside because the otters and the foxes will definitely take them. It happens every single quarter. There's no bears on island though, so you don't have to worry about that. And for some reason, there's no squirrels either. It's a funny fact about San Juan Island. We have a dining hall as well where all of your meals are prepared. Between our living arrangements and the dining hall, it makes it so that you can wholly focus on your work while you're up here. Just researching, studying, that's all you have to worry about. I guess hanging out too. The dining hall is also a fun central location. There's pool tables, a fireplace, a gathering area. It's a great spot also to bump into some of the researchers that are doing amazing work up here and learn about what they're doing. And maybe one day you'll be working with them. You never know. It happens quite frequently. I thought it'd be neat to show some videos of that I took while I was living on campus, just to kind of give you an idea of the place and where it is. This was some fox kits that were born right down just like 50 yards away from where I was staying. And I know you're not supposed to approach them, and I didn't. I was just walking. All of a sudden they came up to me, and I just kind of let them do their thing until they walked on. But you know, that kind of thing is pretty frequent. And then here's another video of the orcas that are very famous in the Salish, not just in the Salish Sea, but in the San Juan Islands in particular. They're all over the place. And I was just walking down a trail one day, but you can see the ferry in the background that you'll probably use to get out here. And all of a sudden, a whole pod of orcas just came swimming by. So I got a quick video. It's a pretty special moment when they come by. And when they do, people send out sort of an alarm through email or, you know, different chats that people have set up. And all of a sudden, you'll see all the students in the lab just clear out from their classrooms and just run to go watch the orcas on the shore. And some of the classes you'll take will actually go and find these animals in particular. So I'll talk a little bit about our coursework. We operate during 3 quarters, that's spring, summer, and autumn. Spring has options for both early undergrads, typically, but not exclusively, freshmen and sophomores through the Spring Marine Studies program, which is popular courses like Marine Mammals of the Salish Sea, which is taught by Deborah Giles. She's the researcher who figured out how to get a dog to be able to track whale feces. So they take the dog on the boat, they go find whale feces and pick it up to study whales. It's a really cute dog. So that's a class you could take with her. The Spring Marine Studies also allows you to take courses like introductory biology in a class of 20 students instead of 500, which I know is definitely a benefit. There's also a decades-long Zoobot program at the 400 level that is 3 courses that gives you the opportunity to study zoology, botany, and then you also get your own research project over the course of 10 weeks. It's a self-guided research project. Our summer usually has 6 intensive courses over a 5-week period on a variety of specific subjects, including vertebrates, scientific diving, embryology. There was one recently about equating mechanics of an octopus and trying to reverse engineer an octopus. It was pretty neat. These courses are the same price regardless of whether or not you're a UW student or a Washington State resident. So it's a great way to spend your summer over here without paying high fees that you may typically have to for our matriculated courses. These courses are at the 400 and 500 levels, so they're generally appropriate for undergrads, grads, and we even get a lot of postdocs that take these courses. Autumn hosts several research apprenticeships that are 100% field-based research. That means no quizzes, no tests. These courses are also the same price regardless of state residency or matriculated status. We're also hosting a new Autumn Marine Studies program at the upper level graduates to study ecology and human interactions in the Salish Sea, fish morphology, and there's also a research component to it that's for self-guided research. One of the things I like to mention is that we do have financial aid that is specific to Friday Harbor Lab. So if you're thinking about coming up here and you think, well, I can't get away from my job, or there's some other financial constraint that stops you from being able to come up here, there is a portion of the application where you can tell us what you need and give us, the reason why you need it, what your situation is. And then we take that and we're going to try to figure out how we can give as much aid as we can to different students. And in a lot of cases, students that thought they'd never be able to come up here, we've been able to give them the money they need to come up here and be successful. So we do what we can to make sure that cost is not a barrier. So, don't say you're not going to come up here because of cost, because we're definitely going to try to help you with that. There's also options for hourly positions in the dining hall that some students take up. And then a couple other things to mention is if let's say you're at the graduate level or you're a postdoc, you can definitely come out here and just do research. You don't have to take a course with us. And there are a lot of people who do that. I was just working with, I want to say we have like 20 researchers coming out here that are at the graduate and post and PhD candidate level that are doing different forms of research. And a lot of them receive fellowship financial aid as well to make it so that in some cases they didn't pay for any of their housing, a lot of their lab space. We want you to come up here and do good work, and we have really great donors that help make that happen. There's also a very famous REU Blinks internship program. This is a fully paid internship that you get to come up here for 8 weeks in the summer and study closely with a mentor doing research. And not only do we pay for your housing, your dining, and your travel out here, there's also a stipend included with it. So it's extremely popular. So for instance, we have about 14 seats available for that this summer, and we had over 400 applications, or around 400 applications. So definitely look into that. It's a great program if you can get in, for sure. If you're interested in coming up to the University of Washington and you want to be in the College of the Environment, there's 3 programs that tend to send students up to us very frequently besides general biology at the University of Seattle. This isn't to say if you're at UW-Bothell or Tacoma that you don't come. We have tons of students like that as well. But if marine science is your passion, these are 3 programs I thought I would just bring up to just kind of give you an idea of what's available. So the first one is the Aquatic and Fisheries Science. And through this program, you can explore the complex marine and freshwater ecosystems that are home to both fish and people. And it looks at how people can protect and sustainably use their resources and ecosystems. We're talking about things like geoduck, oysters, clams, mussels, fish, shellfish. Those are all big in Washington State. And you can get a job in those fields, and you can make a career out of just studying those kinds of animals. There's also an Alaska salmon program that's been running for 30 years in Bristol Bay, studying the same run of sockeye, which is kind of a neat program that Aquatic and Fisheries Science does. The marine biology program is the newest and fastest growing major in the college environment. It's had about 250 students in just the 4 years that it's existed. It covers very broad topics. So we're talking coastlines, tropical reefs, kelp forests, and the open ocean. And you get to study those things at different levels. So cellular, genetic, all the way up to just ecosystems generally. All students who complete a quarter-long all students complete a quarter-long integrated field experience at Friday Harbor Marine Laboratories in the San Juan Islands as well. So if you want to come up here, the marine biology program means that you will definitely come up here. So take a look at that if that's your interest. And then finally, the Oceanography Program. This was the first undergraduate oceanography program in the United States, and it's consistently ranked #1 in international polls. They have deep sea, they study things like deep sea hydrothermal vents. They use high-tech tools that fly across the deep ocean and gather big data models of ocean circulation, ocean warming, and ocean acidification. And one of the big perks of being in that program is you're definitely going to end up on a ship at some point out in the open ocean. That includes, you could end up on the RV Rachel Carson, which is docked right outside of the campus where we are on UW Seattle. And then there's also a much larger RV Thompson cruise that goes all around the world. And you actually will be flown to its location to study on it. I think like in 2019, for instance, students were studying off the coast of South Africa for a quarter. So that's another great opportunity. Okay, so that's it from me in terms of the presentation. So now I'm going to open it up to Q&A, and I see we already have a couple in the chat. Okay, so let's see. All right, so one of the first questions are you a test optional school? I don't actually know the answer to that. Unfortunately, I would reach out to one of the advisors of the programs that I mentioned to ask those kinds of questions. I'm an advisor of sorts, but really all I'm about is getting students out to our campus. There's no one in a degree program through us, so I'm not helping students like actually get admitted to the college. Unfortunately, that's done through other advisors. I'm sorry, I don't actually have the answer to that question. The next question is, are there abroad or off-campus programs that undergrads get to participate in? There are, if you're an undergrad in the UW college environment, as I mentioned before. If you're like, let's say in the oceanography one, you can end up on a ship for a whole quarter. You're also, if you're in marine biology, you're certainly going to end up coming over to Friday Harbor Labs at some point. So yeah, there's the UW college environment encourages students to get out in the field and do things. So that's definitely worth checking out. What is your favorite thing about your school? I would say the thing that I really like about the UW college's environment is the fact that we're so focused on getting your hands dirty. Like I think there are a lot of places you can go that they'll give you a great education, but a lot of times maybe you don't spend a lot of time in the field. And if you really want to get your hands dirty, then come out to Friday Harbor Labs and join onto the UW college's environment. We'd love to have you. And again, that's also what makes us unique. What is campus life like? Campus life at Friday Harbor Labs, I like to compare it to summer camp. It's basically summer camp for kids that are interested, or students that are interested in marine sciences. So we never have more than maybe 70, possibly 100 students out there at any one time. So over the course of a quarter, you get to know the other students really well. It's definitely worth checking out for that reason. Does your school offer graduate level programming? Yes, absolutely. Again, I would go and check that out on in some of our websites. All of those programs I mentioned have some form of graduate program attached to them as well. And there are lots of people seeking their master's degrees and PhDs that come and study at Friday Harbor Labs. What does our research entail? I mean, anything. It could be from the most basics, cellular questions about embryology and metamorphosis and evolution, or it could be as broad as like massive ecosystem questions. So really it depends on what you're interested in. Most of our courses are designed in such a way that you can really figure out what you're interested in and then study that. Another question I have is, what is it like to research and work in a college lab? It's a lot of fun. I mean, it's a lot of work. I'm not going to lie, for people that are researchers out here. They work very hard, but there's something about being able to unlock questions about life and how it works that's deeply satisfying, and doing it in a place that's as beautiful as Friday Harbor Labs is special. So that's what I have for questions. Does anybody else have anything, or if not, I guess we could close out. And you can always contact me. I'll put my my email in here if you have questions you want to send straight to me, or we could always set up a Zoom call. I'm happy to talk to any of you.
Yeah, and if there's any questions that come up on Whova, we can also get Mason to answer those at a later time and kind of get those questions finished. And then I will take any info. If you have any other websites, Mason, you want to share, I see you put your email in there. I can transfer all that over to Whova as well, so that if people have any questions or want to look deeper into information, so anything that you think might help guide them through their kind of decision process, we can put up on the website for them. We'll have a lot of people who will view these recordings after the fact. We've already gotten people who are like, when are the recordings going up? Like, I missed this one or that one. So it'll be a lot of good info for them to be able to dive deeper.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming, and thank you so much for sharing. And thank you for everyone who attended and listened to Mason share what kind of they do at their university and their lab.
Yeah. Well, nice to meet you all, and have a great day.
You too. Have a good rest of your day.
Take care.